So today we are going to take these and turn it into this. All right, so now we are going to measure, and I want to start just to the side of, see how it's doubled over right here? And yes, my hands are stained. I'm a massive avid gardener and I don't wear my gloves often enough. But we don't want to have to drill through this thick portion. So we're going to start just to the side of it. And this will also help with the measuring because my tape measure is not quite as long. So we are going to start on the edge here, which means I can put my first dot up here. And then we are going to wrap this around. Because this is a 60-inch tape measure, you can see it stops right there. So I'm just going to mark that with my thumb. And then I'm going to go from that edge we started on up here and measure down, and that's another 10 inches. So we have 70 inches. So we're going to take our 70 inches and we're going to divide that by 3. And we have 23.33. So again, we started right here, and now we are going to measure 23. Oops, sorry about that. We're going to measure 23.33. That will be our second mark because where we started was our first mark. And then we will do it again. It's really hard to do because these are so big. And then we'll mark our 23.33 here. And then we will take our tape measure just for reference. And we will start at this last mark. And we will pull the tape measure all the way over to where we first started. And we've got our 23.33. And now just for reference, I have this board suspended across the opening of our stairs. Probably not the best place to do it, but my husband is busy in the shop with the sawhorses. So I am going to just use this as a leverage so that I can drill this first hole. Okay, so I have my first one marked here. I'm just going to start drilling. So now you can see I have my holes pre-drilled to an appropriate size so I can get my chain through. So now we're going to take our chain. I'll stick my needle nose pliers in there and I'm going to just pull it so that it's apart like that. You see that? I'm then going to take it and I'm going to hook it onto the frame, and then I'm going to pinch it back together with my pliers. Now I need to determine how long of chain I want for it to hang from the ceiling of my shed. So I'm going to pull the chain out and I'm going to determine how long I want it to be. So now I'm going to open up this piece of chain so I can separate it from the rest of the roll. I'll squeeze that back together. And now what I need to do is count how many chains and duplicate that 2 more times off of my roll so I have even lengths for each one. And then I did also take the piece that I had already cut and just pulled it up and measured it, and it did match, being 46. So you can also measure that way. Okay, now we'll go on to the second one. We'll get that one clipped back into place. Now the last one. take each one of these chains and we're going to take an S-hook. These came with the kit. I will try to link it down below. I'm not affiliated or don't have an Amazon store yet, but that's where I got these. And we're going to take and we're just going to slip each one of these hoops into the S-hook. And then I'm going to take that S-hook and I'm going to smash it together as good as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to hang, so there'll be tension on it. So now we have it all hanging up. You can see it hangs nice and even because we did our perfect spacing divided by 3. And we got our chains all the same length. Now I'm going to work on getting this hung up in my shed because this is what I'm going to hang some dried flowers off of. So let's go down there and get this hung up. So down here in my shed, I do have a peak on my rafters. I think what I want to do though is hang it over onto the side. It's going to be right above a shelf, but it will be high enough where it won't be in my way. So now I need to measure from the top of the rafter down to see how low the ring will hang to see if it's an appropriate spot. All right, so I just put a little hook up in the rafter and I hung my rack. Now let's go get some flowers and get this baby filled up. All right, so here's what we look like so far. And I lost one of my hooks on the way down here, and the nice thing about using these is you can just slip some of the stems on either side of the ring. And then I also hung a couple from the actual chain hanging down the center. And I can fit a few more in here, but I don't want to overcrowd them because I really want them to have the airflow to dry properly. But I'm going to make a few more of these and get them hung up in here. And that will probably just be in a future video, but that's how you make a barrel ring hanger for drying flowers. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.